welcome back to my channel. So this week's video is going to be another reading vlog. The first book that I just got the hold in for my library is Stephen King's 11/22/63, and I'm excited because I've been waiting for this to come out or come in through my library so that way I can read it on my Kindle, because I own the physical book. It is huge. And I've just been a Kindle girly lately, so I'm excited about that. All I know so far is it's like a sci-fi with a very light subplot of romance about our main character who, there's like a time traveling thing where he tries to go back and stop the assassination of President Kennedy. And like he obviously meets someone, I'm assuming in the older, the past timeline, and like you're dealing with, issues between, like the time rules and all that. I really don't know anything else about it, but Haley Pham read it, loved it, and I think Destiny said, well, also read it and really liked it. And I liked his last book that I read, Fairy Tale, was really good. So I like his writing, so I'm definitely interested. I've been wanting to read this book for a while, and it's on my 24 books I want to read in 2024. So we could check another book off that list if I finish it. So that is my first book I plan on reading. It's a long book. I think it's like over 850 pages, which is so long. But and it's the longest book I've honestly read in a while. But that's okay. I've heard that it's fast-paced. So the other book that I hope I'm gonna read in this vlog, I don't know exactly which book, but I know the author. I want to read my first Kristen Hanna book. So I don't really typically like historical fiction at all, but a lot of people say that her books are just really, really good, really well written, really immersive, super emotional and impactful, and I could go for a book like that. And I figure I'll try one and we'll see where I go. I think my mom listened to a couple of her books and really enjoyed them, so I'll have something to talk with her about, which is always a fun time. So I put a poll on my Instagram about which one to read. I listed The Women, The Nightingale, and Firefly Lane. And them, honestly, I will be fine with. So I put a poll on my Instagram. Follow me, Sabrina_reads and rambles, if you ever want to help me pick the books that I'm reading. And then I also posted it on like a Facebook group that I'm in and asked them, because they tend to have a lot of good insight over there. So yeah, so I'm gonna be reading the Stephen King book and then hopefully a Kristen Hanna book in this vlog. And depending on the length of this vlog, I may get a bit more into the Society of Lies book that I started listening to in my last vlog. So we shall see how that goes. But I just wanted to start the vlog. That way, as soon as I start reading, I can keep you guys posted. I'm super excited to get into 11/22/63 and talk about it. And I will check you guys in the next clip. Hello friends. So I wanted to give a quick update. So I have, since the beginning clip, started the Stephen King 11/22/63, which again I don't know too much about. I explained what I think it's about in the previous clip, but I have started it. This is the physical copy. It is long as heck, but I like the physical copy because it's very, like, I don't know, it's like floppy, and I love that. But I am reading it on my Kindle because it's just so much easier that way, really. So as of right now, I'm on chapter 5, page 22, but there was a quote that I read in the beginning of the book that I really wanted to talk about. So we're following our main character, Jake Epping, who is a high school teacher, and he, for extra money, he ends up teaching a GED class. And one of the students in the GED class is the janitor at the high school. And so he says, he starts this off by saying that he has a hard time expressing emotions, like crying, like when his parents passed, like he didn't cry at their funerals and things like that. Like, so he just has a really hard time expressing emotions. And so when he comes across this story that the janitor wrote, it has very poor grammar, but the writing itself was impactful. He is grading the janitor's paper, and it ends up, moving him so much that he ends up getting really, teary-eyed and crying, and he ends up putting down like his red pen that he uses to mark things up, and just like reads the story through without even thinking about that. So then he picks up the pen at the end of the story. I stroked a big red A on top of his paper, looked at it for a moment or two, and then added a big red plus because it was good and because his pain evoked an emotional reaction in me as his reader. And isn't that what A plus writing is supposed to do? Evoke a response. And that quote honestly meant so much to me. Like, I honestly didn't think it would affect me as it did. But it meant so much to me because it's so true. When you think back on just your 5-star reads, like, they evoke, in my opinion, such a visceral reaction. When I'm reading a 5-star book, I get that 5-star feeling because I've cried when the character cries. I've laughed when the character laughs. I've felt panic or terror or whatever emotion that the writer wants you to feel, you're feeling. And to me, that is what really like signifies like a 5-star book. And so for it to be written in here as like, yes, I'm giving, even though it's not the best grammar, it's not the most well written, because it evoked such a prominent response within me, it's an A plus. Like, it's a 5-star, And I think that as a reader, that is just such a statement of fact. Like, just again, in my opinion, because it's just how I rate my books, like when I'm reading a 5-star book, you get those visceral reactions. And I won't give a book, even if I loved the book, if I did not have these visceral, outward reactions, I don't give it 5 stars. I'll give it like a 4.5 or like a 4.75 or a 4, I only give books 5 stars that genuinely make me feel and like make me have the same reactions as the character in the book, the reactions that the writer wants you to have. Because to me, that's what makes a good story, a good writer, and so it was just really interesting. I feel like I went on like a pretty long tangent just about this one quote, but that really got me. And so I'm interested to see where we go from here because I'm excited. As of right now, we've moved out of the prologue, we've moved 2 years in the future, and the janitor is retiring from the high school, and they go out to lunch to celebrate, and they go to this place, I think it's just called Al's Diner or something like that, but it's been around for forever. The prices are super cheap and everyone makes fun of it because it's super cheap. So Jake has been going there for a long time, and so they go there, they get their picture taken because Al likes local celebrities. So he gets the picture taken, puts it up on the wall, and fast forward a couple days, Jake gets a call from Al, and it doesn't sound like Al. Like, he sounds very sick. And, Jake says, hey, what's up? Like, he's calling him at school, because he's a teacher. So he's calling him at school, which he, like, never does. He doesn't ever, like, talk to him, like, outside of the diner. And so Jake is talking to him, and Al's like, I need you to come to the diner, like, now. Like, as soon as possible. You need to get here ASAP. And so Jake's like, okay. So Jake gets there, and everything just seems weird. So it says there's a sign on the door that the diner's closed for illness. And then he goes in, and Al doesn't look anything like how he saw him last night at 5:45 p.m. It's been less than 24 hours, and Al looks like a completely different person. And Al says, brace yourself. You're going to get some information. You can ask questions, but keep them minimal because I ain't got much time. And that's where I'm at, is they're literally just sitting down to talk about whatever Al called him there to talk about. So far, I'm intrigued. I mean, the writing is, I love Stephen King's writing. That's all the update for now. I will keep you guys posted when I get a little further in. So long time no talk. I have a couple of fun updates. I will talk about where I am at in 11/22/63, but I received a nice little package from Amazon. Also, if you're wondering what this banner is behind me, it was my aunt's birthday this past weekend, and I'm too lazy to take down the banner, so that's where we're at with that. But yeah, so I want to open this package because it is very exciting. So I ended up, as we all know, I love Beach Read by Emily Henry. It's literally one of my favorite books, 5 stars. I absolutely love it. And they released a special edition. And so, of course, I had to buy that. But before that, I also did buy a nice little pack of sports bras that were decent price for I think there's 7 or 8 in here. So I'm excited about these, but that's a little less exciting then. Oh my God, it is so pretty. You guys, I quite literally cannot contain my joy. Okay, let's get this box out of here because no one cares about that. Oh my God, it is so beautiful. Look at these sprayed edges, you guys. Oh my God. This is gonna look stunning on my shelf. What's the quote on the back? When the world felt dark and scary, love could whisk you off to go dancing. Laughter could take some of the pain away. Beauty could punch holes in your fear. Oh my God, I can't, you guys. This is so pretty. Oh my God, okay. So let's take the dust jacket off. That way we can really investigate the book. This beautiful yellow cover. The quote, I feel overwhelmed that you exist. That is literally one of the best quotes from the book. Just saying. Love that. Sprayed edges all around, which we love. And then the end papers are also that stunning, that beautiful sunset. Just love that. Oh, this is so pretty. I'm so excited to put this on my shelf. And, oh, she put a little reader's note in here. I love that. My other copy is very well loved. It is annotated. I've read it quite a few times. So I am so excited to have this beautiful special edition. I think it was only $23, I think, on Amazon. Definitely worth it. I'm very excited to put this on my shelf. So, oh my gosh, I was so excited. As soon as this came in, I was like, I need to get it. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Absolutely love this. Love this book. So now that we've unboxed my sports bras and my book, talk about a few fun updates. So the first fun update is, as we all know, the beautiful Kindle Colorsoft launched yesterday. And I was totally not going to order it. I was like, because is it really worth it? You still can't annotate on the books, which is a huge bummer. But the more I watched people talk about it and kind of read more about it, it seems to be that it's hopefully going to be better than the Kobo one that I wanted to get. Because on the Kobo color, you can write on the PDF or write on the book and annotate, but they obviously don't have Kindle Unlimited. Their selection is not as great. So that's why I never got the Kobo. But with this, it's got a larger display. I think it's 7 inches instead of 6.8. Obviously, we love being able to browse books in color. Having the color cover is lovely. And being able to highlight in different colors is also going to be really nice. And I think it'll be more fun to highlight books in my Kindle. I think it's supposed to have 8 weeks of battery life, which is really good. And the only unfortunate thing is that it only comes in one color, black, which is fine because as we all know, I load mine up with stickers and stuff anyways. So that's not a huge deal. I am waiting for them to drop a case that will fit because people said this case will not fit because it's apparently thinner. So it doesn't get released until the 30th. So I won't receive mine till the 1st. So as soon as I get it, my dad also actually ordered one. And so I'm going to go over to his house and we're going to unbox them together. And I'll film that for you guys. That way you can see my live reactions because I'm very excited. like the more I'm like sitting on it, the more excited I am. I'm like so happy that I got it. And I was actually able to trade in not this Kindle, but my purse Kindle, my older one. I got $30 for it from Amazon, and then they were offering 20% off a new Kindle when you did a trade-in. So I ended up saving money that way. So that's that update that I'm super excited about. And then let's talk 11/22/63 by Stephen King. So as we all know, I've been reading this. My library hold on it is dwindling to an end. It's not my fault. I'm reading as much as I can, but this book is a chunker. I think it's like 860 pages. I am currently on page 297, 34% of the way through. I'm loving it. I love the writing. Even though there hasn't been like too much going on, I haven't been bored. Like, I'm flying through it. I'm, like I said, really enjoying it. I love our main character. He's super interesting. And I love the whole premise of the story. Obviously, I can't dive too much into what's happening because it'll spoil things. But I am absolutely just loving where the story is going. I feel like so it's so weird because it's broken up into parts, and then the parts have chapters, and then the chapters have sub-chapters. So, which I like, because then it's easier for me when I'm like reading, and obviously we all know no one likes to stop in the middle of a chapter. So it's nice to have the sub-chapters because it breaks the chapter down so that it's a little bit less intimidating and easier to like stop, when you're doing other things. So definitely really enjoying it so far. I just like the writing. It's just so easy to read, so easy to digest. And it's because it's like a sci-fi type book. I honestly thought it was going to be really hard to understand and grasp some of the concepts, but Stephen King is really good at like explaining all these things in layman's terms, which I like, because the whole concept of the story is that Jake ends up getting brought into this like whole time travel saving, John Kennedy, because someone else brings him in. So he has to be explained the same way we would, in layman's terms, about how it works, how everything works. And we're kind of learning along with him, which is also really nice. So definitely having a really good time with the book so far. I will chat with you guys later. So today is Sunday morning. It is around 11 a.m. And I'm just kind of getting set up to read for the day. So as we all know, my current read is 11/22/63 by Stephen King. So I just hit the 50% mark last night. I think I started at page around, we'll say around, because I honestly don't remember exactly where I started yesterday. Page 325, which was 37% through, and then now I am currently 431, 50% through. So I read a decent chunk, about 100 pages or so yesterday. It's so weird because I feel like I read so much more than that, but it's my own fault. I literally have been getting so distracted lately. Like, when I read anything, I pick up my phone and like I will just scroll. Like, that's what I'll do, like, first thing before I even pick up my book. And then like once I pick up my book, I'm in it for a while. So I don't know, I just get distracted. But anyways, so I read roughly 100 pages yesterday. Now the sad news is that my library hold is coming to an end. I have to go in office on Tuesday, so I won't have like any time to read like before or after work because of how my schedule works on the day where I have to go into the office. So I pretty much have today and tomorrow The audiobook for this is on Spotify Premium, so if worse comes to worse, I can definitely listen to it. As far as the actual book itself, it is good. I mean, I'm still really enjoying it. At this point, you're kind of starting to get into the thick of everything. So it's so funny because normally I feel like I would be so bored by now. Like, there's definitely been little things that have been happening, and like, just there's been stuff going on, but I feel like it's just a weird thing because I'm not bored, but there's so much like backstory and like side stuff that like I didn't think that would intrigue me anywhere near as much as it did. So at this point now we've met Sadie, who is his love interest in the 50s timeline. And he, meets her, and you see them like develop this friendship, and you see like where it goes from there, and they're both, in love. You're essentially at this point, you're following, because Jake has to wait a couple years in order to run into Lee Harvey Oswald. So he has to do something with his time and with his life. So he's living in this small town called Jody, Texas, where he makes a life for himself, and he really enjoys this life. He gets a part-time job as a substitute teacher, and then everyone ends up loving him. So then they make him, he goes full-time teaching. And then once, at the beginning of the year for that, there's this new teacher coming in named Sadie Clayton, and he's like, oh, I really like her. And so then they start like kindling a relationship. So he has this whole life that he loves, that he is so happy with in Jody. But he has this huge secret. I mean, he's not using his real name where he is. It's such a falsehood. Like, he's got such a fake life down there that he knows what his real purpose is. His mission down there is to stop the JFK assassination in 63. And he's trying to like, set up and do all that stuff while also trying to maintain his perfect little life in Jody. And it's not working out well, because he's starting to have, some slip ups, saying things that haven't been said yet in the 60s. Like, he said like excellent dude or something, and like apparently that hasn't been said yet. And so Sadie's kind of starting to like wonder, like, what is up with you? Like, you say the weirdest things, you sometimes sing songs that aren't out yet, like. And so she's kind of starting to like wonder what's going on, and she feels like, she's told him so much about her life, stuff that she wouldn't tell anybody, and like she knows nothing about like his life. So that side of things is starting to kind of crack a little at this point. I don't know where it's gonna go from here. That's kind of where I'm at in the book at about 50% through. The point to like all of that was to say that like we're getting a lot of like this like subplot. We're kind of off on like a subplot. Like, there's still some small stuff for the main plot happening within the subplot, but we're like kind of off on this like little mini adventure of him in Jody. And it's like a lot of small town stuff. Like, there's not a lot of stuff happening when he's in Jody. Like, they're talking about like a jamboree, the school play, and stuff like that. So you would think that it would be like a boring time to read about in his life, but the Stephen King's writing just somehow constantly keeps you on your toes. He makes everything so easy to understand, which I love. So, goal for today is to read as much as possible. And it's already, I think, 11:15. So, chapter 17, subchapter 1. So, again, 50% through. Okay, guys, I will talk with you guys in the next update. So I wanted to just film a quick wrap up. This video is already like 40 minutes long. I've begun editing it already. And yeah, it's 40 minutes long when all I've been talking about is pretty much one book. So I finally finished 11/22/63 by Stephen King, this beast of a book. It was so good. So I think my final rating is going to be a 4.25. So I loved this book so much. I loved our main character. Jake is such a great main character. And some of the challenges that he goes through in this book, just throughout the whole book is crazy. I want to word vomit about this book. But I definitely suggest picking this up. I feel the same way about this that I did about Fairy Tale by him. The writing is just so easy. It flows like a river. People would consider like mundane or boring. And like, I feel even then, this book is 860 pages. I never once got bored, felt like I was really reading unnecessary information. I thoroughly enjoyed every aspect of this book. I loved the beginning, I loved the middle, I loved the end, and I just think it was just so well written. And so this is my third Stephen King novel. So I've read this, Fairy Tale, and then Firestarter. I did not like Firestarter, but that was the only early novel that I've read of his, so I do still plan on reading more of his books, for sure. I think the next one I want to read is Billy Summers, because I've also heard really great things about that. But yeah, so good. I definitely recommend checking it out. Even if you don't like sci-fi, it's just about so much more than that, in my opinion. It's just so good. And that quote from the beginning that I talked about still resonates with me. And I definitely felt some serious emotions reading this book, especially towards the end. But I didn't get that like 5-star feeling, which is unfortunate because I really love this book. But that's why I think like 4.25, 4.5, like for me, somewhere around there. My final rating and review will always be on Goodreads, which is linked down below. So definitely feel free to check that out. I always love having new friends on Goodreads. So yeah, definitely check this out if you want to pick up a new book. And it's a thick book, and it definitely took me a little bit of time, but that's more a me problem. I just haven't had a whole heck of a lot of time to read lately. So just so good. So we'll have this section be spoilers. Sadie and Jake are quite literally, I love them so much. And the fact that at the end, when Sadie died, that was when I cried. When she was like, talking about them dancing. That got me. And the fact that like he went back and he was gonna, but then he met, the green card man, and the guy was like, bro, the future is effed. Like, do not do this again. All these just learning about all the strings, and that every time Al went there, like a new string was opened. It wasn't like the world resetting, was just so interesting. And then learning how the world was so differently affected by Kennedy staying alive. Like when he went back and people had like the radiation sores, and it was so interesting to read about. And I really enjoyed that part of things, just to see how time travel genuinely affects everything. And I love at the end that like he went back to Jody in his current timeline in I think it was 2011 or 2012. And he went to see Sadie because she got like, I think it was Citizen of the Year in Jody, and it was just so full circle, and I just really loved it. It was wholesome. Some of the stuff that George and Sadie had to go through was insane. George, I keep calling him George because that's like his name for 90% of the book. Between Jake and Sadie was insane. Like, I truly couldn't believe it when you know, she gets the guy, what's his name, Clayton, her ex-husband, like shows up and like freaking cuts her face like he did. And when George Amberson, Epping got beat up by the bookie, it, like, that part was insane. And the fact that Sadie went and found him on the day that he needed to go and stop Lee Oswald was crazy. Oh my god. The whole thing. I really, really had such a good time from beginning to end. Like, it was just so good. Well, I know that I said I was also going to read a Kristen Hanna book in this vlog, but this vlog is very long already. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe, as it really helps my channel. And if you want to talk about this book, reach out to me. I'm happy to chat. Love to chat.